Saturday is actually our first full practice, and then we'll play our exhibition game on Saturday night. Obviously, we have a lot of returning players, but we're going to have to replace some very, very important seniors that were outstanding role players. They were great program guys and played a very, I think, important role in the success that we had last year as a team. In some cases, they deferred to some younger guys, some important roles. They just wanted the team to win. So as we enter the new year, there's going to be new roles. Some of the roles will remain the same. Obviously, we have a constant in Adam Wilcox in net, some 5 returning defensemen with a lot of experience, and then 9 of our 12 forwards who played in the final game last year returning. So very good nucleus. I think the guys worked hard over the course of summer. We have some incoming freshmen that will obviously push for playing time. Just excited to get going and see how this is all going to fit together again this year.
Questions?
You touched on the roles of the seniors that they played last year. How have you started piecing that together? Is that going to take time?
It's going to take time. On the back end, we lost Justin and Jake, 2 senior guys that were physically pretty strong, both extremely good skaters, poised. Played more of a shutdown role defensively than maybe an offensive role, so we're going to have some guys replace that. We don't need to replace the offense back there. We need to replace their defense, and that's what we need. Jake Bischoff, who wasn't in the lineup at the end last year, that's more his style, and then our incoming freshman defenseman will all, fight for those roles.
Tyler?
Well, when the rankings came out, I think I went through the preseason picks, who was picked to win all the different leagues last year, and I think one was correct. The preseason last year, I think Miami was second and didn't even make the NCAAs. Union, I think, was 16th to start the year. Yale, the year before that, I don't even know if it was rated. So, you know what? The ratings are based on maybe some name brand schools. Maybe they're based on what teams did last year. Obviously, we have some good players returning, but there's a lot of good teams, and we've seen the depth of college hockey expand and grow over the last number of years. And we don't get to start with how it ended. This is a new team. It's new challenges. We have a very difficult schedule again this year that we'll have to navigate. Last year, we were fortunate. We stayed injury-free for the most part all season long, other than Jake's broken leg, and that came at a great time over Christmas break. So we were fortunate in that regard. But a lot of good teams, and we're going to have to prove ourselves, and we'll be one of the teams that, should be there with a pretty good record, hopefully at the end of the year. But at the same time, I mean, there's nothing guaranteed. We won a lot of close games last year, and hopefully we can do the same this year.
Pat?
Being a team like we were last year, I think that was the depth of our team last year is what ultimately allowed us to have the type of year we had. Offensively, we were the type of team where somebody different scored every night. We didn't have to rely on the same 1 or 2 guys during the course of the year. If one line kind of went dry, another line seemed to pick it up, and hopefully we can have that type of team again this year and win with depth more so than star power. You know what? We're not sure what we're going to do yet. Leon's going to get an opportunity to play in the exhibition on Saturday, but then he can't play the opening weekend. The good thing after that is then we'll have 2 weeks to figure out where to put him in our lineup. So the puzzle's going to be, I'd like to be able to have the 3 real strong lines like we had last year, and so we have to replace 2 of those 9. So where does, whether it's Vinny and Connor and Leon and some of these guys, where are they going to fit into that mix? We have to reestablish our 4th line again this year. And there'll probably be some new players on that. And we hope that we can get a little bit more consistent production from that group. It might be an older group this year because with Izzy and AJ and Ryan Riley, guys that are, a senior and a couple of juniors, in a spot like that, at least to begin the year, that you hope the experience they've had, even though they weren't in our lineup at the end of last year, but the experience they've had in our program at college, that they can take on that role and be a very effective grouping for us. And we hope we can get some penalty killers out of our fourth line. Last year, our fourth line was really all freshmen, and this year that's not going to be the case.
So you're going to have a lot of guys battling.
Yeah, we're going to exactly. Some guys aren't battling for first line, but we have guys battling for third and fourth line, and guys battling for maybe third and second line, or that type of deal. But we want to have three balanced lines. We've been skating a lot with Warning right now with Boyd, just to see if we can get balanced scoring. We want to give Connor Riley and Vinny a real good look in the exhibition game and playing in our top nine. It's a good opportunity for them.
So everybody goes into the season and high expectations and they're feeling good. They think they're. How do you have a spot? How do you handle? How do you think the team handles that? What's important?
Well, I think that's where leadership comes in a little bit. That the whole team dynamics. When you have a bunch of freshmen, they just want to play. I mean, they don't care where they're playing. They just, as long as there's a jersey in their stall on Friday and Saturday night, they're happy. Well, now some of those guys are older, so they're going to want a little bit more, but they have to earn a little bit more too. Nothing will be given. And so how hard they worked over the summer, what they show in practice, what they show when they get their opportunity in games will dictate, where they are in our lineup. Both of our power plays that finished last year come back intact. But at the same time, we didn't get a whole lot of production from our second power play. So there better be some early production, or other guys are going to have an opportunity to move into some of those spots. So that's what we have to find out. Again, that's one of the things that was great about our seniors that we had last year, that they were okay not being on the power play. They were okay, Tommy Saratori, being on the a checking role, a killing penalties, of blocking a shot. That was his value to our team, and he did a terrific job on it. And they were program guys. They wanted our team to win, and we have to make sure we have that same attitude this year going in. That the team comes first. Everybody has to find the roles. We don't need 12 forwards to score. We don't need 6 defensemen to score. We need some defensemen that can shut down. We need some forwards that can kill penalties. We need some forwards that can play in the power play. We need some guys that can have a little pizzazz to their game, but we also need a couple guys that are going to go bang somebody too. So it's not necessarily, the 12 most skilled forwards are going to play. We have to fit guys into certain roles.
That team concept, is that something that you have to redevelop every year?
I think so, Pat. I mean, that's a big part of it. When we have guys that want to win for the University of Minnesota, and it's all for the right reason. That seems like when we have our most success. We're going to push them. We pushed them hard last year, and I think this group, that they want to be pushed. So they're not afraid to work. They're not afraid to practice hard. And just like we talked about last year, it's a process. I mean, we're not going to be great 2 weeks into the season. We want to get better. We want to work on some of our weaknesses and try to improve as the year goes on.
Jess, you have a question?
John, I apologize. I got your line of TikTok goaltending already, but you used to joke that Red Berenson has used the same goalie for 16 straight years. You're kind of heading that way with Adam prepared to start his third year. Is there some competition there?
No. I mean, just being honest, I mean, the competition is going to be who's going to be the second goaltender. That's really what the competition is. So I think that's being fair to Adam, that the type of athlete, the type of goaltender he is. I mean, you go into the year that I don't have to worry about who the goalie is unless he's hurt. I mean, Adam's going to play. Now, if there's an off night where he's not playing very well and you just get him out of there and get somebody else in, that may happen. But at the same time, Adam wants to play every game, and he's put himself in a position to have that right to do that. And the guys have a lot of confidence in Adam. The coaches have a lot of confidence in Adam, and he's earned the right to say, he's going to play.
Frank. Go ahead, Frank.
You got a lot of quality minutes.
out of your freshmen last year and production, which you can't always bank on a freshman class. What are you expecting out of this year's freshman class in terms of production?
Well, I think it's going to be, when last year began, I said if we were going to have a good year, our freshmen have to contribute offensively, just because there were so many of them playing the roles that they were in on the power play, top 6, top 9 forwards that were going to get ice time, that if they didn't produce, then we weren't going to have the success that we had a year ago. That's certainly not going to be the case this year. We don't need our freshmen to come in and make significant offensive production. And quite frankly, Leon's going to produce offensively, and he's going to probably be the one that's going to have an opportunity to play in that type of role. But with the returning guys, we need production to go up from a Vinny and a Connor. And, Connor's a guy that, had to go through 2 major knee surgery. And I told him a year ago that it's going to take him a full year to get back to where he was, and I think that's the case. And so now it's getting him back and giving him an opportunity early in the year to see if he truly is all the way back. He's quicker. His skating is much improved from what it was a year ago at this time. He's got one of the best shots on our team. Same with Vinny. He's a lot more confident. Vinny was a true freshman coming in last year and didn't quite get the opportunity to play significant minutes for us. And so it's finding now where some of those guys are going to get put back in. On the back end, we don't need offensive production. I'm not sure that the guys who we recruited, they're longer, and defenders are as much that type of player. I mean, they're not Mike Riley or Ben Marshall type of player, but that's not what we recruited them to be. We recruited them to be more defensive defensemen and get the puck out of our own zone. And as they get bigger and stronger, then you have an opportunity to become more of a force in our program.
We'll go Jason, then Wally.
You touched on trying to get guys to be career guys. How much does the fact that you have no early departure speak to your upper class?
Well, I think, and partly, I think it speaks to the success that we had a year ago. That when you get down to the end, when the guys are all in and they're not worried about what's going to happen next week, that it seems like you have pretty good runs in the spring. But I think that we have, the last few years, that the guys have been program guys and they want to win. They want to have success at the University of Minnesota. They have had both feet in, and I think that's a big reason why we've had the success we've had with the 3 straight league titles and 2 Frozen Fours in the last 3 years. And obviously we have good players, but they're team guys. There's nobody in the corner pouting if they're not going to be on the power play. And when you have those types of players and have the good leadership, that's when you can have more team success.
Wally.
Is the plan initially to keep the RAW warning and faction going together?
I don't know yet. It won't be together for the exhibition because it gives me an opportunity to experiment. So we'll look at some different combinations. We'll play all 8 defensemen. We're not sure how many forwards yet we'll play in the game on Saturday. But probably if you today we probably have Connor playing up there. Probably have Vinny playing with Cammy and Kloos. And then Warning with Boyd and Ambrose, and right now we have probably AJ and Christian and Ryan Riley on the blue line.
Vigo.
With so many returning guys, has anybody really stood out as having an especially good off season?
I just want to play some games. We get our half hour 4 days a week, and you're running through some drills. And I can't until you start playing games. That's guys can look at it in practice. I mean, I've seen a lot of All-American practice players, but put 5 guys out in the ice, you got to navigate through. Then it becomes a little bit more difficult, and that's when you really find out.
Jess, go ahead.
Does it feel normal yet to be thinking about going to Columbus and going to State College and not going to Denver and CC?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, after we got through last year, it's the new norm, and that's what I talked about a year ago. Down the line, whether it's for our fans 1, 2, or 3 years, it's the new normal. We're going to be in St. Cloud this year. We're going to be in Duluth this year, so that part of it does not change. it was enjoyable last year going to some new sites and new venues, and they're all great venues to play in. And so I thought it worked out well. I'm looking forward to going out to Boston, playing BC and Northeastern. That'll be a great trip for us. We should have just played UMD and either here or Duluth the first game. We probably had a lot better gate than at 2:00 in the afternoon in front of 200 people. Made a lot more. We would have played a lot more money. Yeah, that would have been. Yeah, we could have played up in Neville like the old days in the Hall of Fame games when you used to do at the Hippodrome. That was my first game as a freshman against UMD, the Hippodrome.
Pat Gowan.
To me, Kyle Rowell kind of epitomizes what Gopher hockey is. And what does he mean to you as a coach?
He does everything the right way. He is a class kid off the ice. He is a tremendous student in the Carlson School of Management. He's an extremely hard worker in practice, and he's a winner. And whether it's state and Pee Wee, state and Bantams, state high school hockey tournament, and I think that's why he was probably so ticked off that we lost that final game last year. Another, chip in his basket for what he's been able to accomplish. But Kyle is a team guy. He is a winner, and he's driven. He's not a guy that talks a lot. He's just a guy that does it. And we like to use the term the Gopher way. He does everything the Gopher way that we'd like to see it done. The way you conduct yourself, the way you handle yourself, whether it's with media or teammates and in school and practice and games. You just know what you're going to get from Kyle Rowell every day. It's nice to have those guys in your program.
We can take one more. Jason.
What does it change things? Big time you praised the four guys for coming back: Shea, Riley, Wilcox, and even Fashion. From an outside perspective, might have been up in there. How much does it change things?
Well, we obviously, when your top end players return, you're going to be a better player. We were fortunate some of the guys that did return. They had some options, but again, it's for some of these guys, at least it's getting them through their junior year, and now the degree is within reach. I think for a few of the guys, their decision was pretty much made up within a week. Maybe they didn't announce it, but I knew some took a little bit longer and wanted to go through the process a little bit more. But the bottom line is that they felt it was in their best interest to be back another year. They like it here at the University of Minnesota. They want to get, in some cases, either get their degree or be close to their degree and leave when they're ready. And the bottom line is they felt that they weren't ready. And you know what? Probably in every situation, I think they made the correct decision.
How much do you think each of their decisions factored into the other, knowing what comes back and how much will change?
I'm not sure. I think for two or three of them, they pretty much, it was an immediate decision what they were going to be doing. There was a little bit what so-and-so was going to do. But I think when it's all said and done, everybody looks at what do I need to do, from what do I want to do, where do I want to be next year? Am I going to be leaving here to go play in the NHL? Am I leaving here to go play in the American League? Or am I leaving here to go play in the East Coast League? I think that all factors in, but I think when they know that they have a good group of guys to be with day in and day out, a great program to play for, great school to attend, that makes their decision maybe a little bit easier.
One more? Okay, and one more in the back.
Sorry I'm late, Coach. What did you learn from making it to the NCAA finals last year?
Stinks to lose. I didn't learn that. I had that lesson before in 1996. But you know what? You lose that game, and I didn't watch the game until early September because I didn't want to. I watched the Frozen Four, waited till then. But you're disappointed because you don't get that many chances to play in the final game. It's hard to get to the final game of the year. You have to be good. You have to be lucky. Maybe get a bounce. You have to be healthy. All those things have to come into play. So no guarantees that you're going to have the same opportunity. You want to put yourself in that same position. But for me, more the memory was last year was one of the most enjoyable years I've had coaching because of the kids. They were fun to be around. They bought into what we were selling. They worked extremely hard. They were fun to be around. And most of the time when the season ends, you're kind of, I'm glad this season's over and, get a little break here. But last year was one of those few years where, you know what, you could have kept going. I could have kept coaching and been around those kids last spring, and that was a tribute to them, you know, especially the seniors and what they were able to accomplish in their time here.
And speaking of the seniors, you got 6 of them on your team. How important is that senior leadership?
Well, we need our seniors to have good years. I've seen it where sometimes seniors can struggle in their last year. I look back last year, Nate Condon had a great run for us in the playoffs, and a big reason why we had the success in the NCAA tournament that we did. But our seniors need to have real good years. They're in roles that we need them to have success, whether it's power play, penalty killing, top 6, top 9 forwards. So the better year they have, it just makes it easier for everybody else. If they're having good years, everybody kind of can follow from underneath.
How excited are you
Nope.
to get the season going?
Excited. It's time. You know, it's October now, and you get that little bit of 30 minutes at a time with the guys. At least that's how we're structuring it, 4 days a week, and now you want more. I mean, that 30 minutes is over, and you want to be out there another hour with them, and so that's what we're excited about, to be out there and go through the process of reteaching and adding a few new wrinkles and trying some new things and finding out who's going to play with who and, you know, who's going to be in our lineup on opening day and opening weekend.
Thanks.
Okay, with that, we're actually going to move on to our player interviews. So thank you, Coach.
Okay.